Hey there, welcome back to a second video in a series of videos where we're going to be teaching you how you can learn to build your very own 3D models from scratch. Now, in the last video, you may remember that we just went over some basic features of Fusion 360 and we got it installed for you if you followed along with that tutorial. In today's video though, it's going to be a little more specific. We're going to be building something, kind of pointless object, but very cool. And as we go along, you're going to learn a lot of useful features that you can use in Fusion 360. And we're also going to discover some other cool features that Fusion 360 has to offer. So stay tuned. As always, this video is brought to you by Purifico, innovating products to limit the spread of disease. If you find this video tutorial helpful or interesting in any way, be sure to, of course, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but more importantly, for your own benefit, visit the Build Your Own program under purifico.com where you can learn to build your very own electronic device from scratch. Okay, now we're getting into the bulk of the tutorial. So, as you may remember, we're going to be making a 3D model of something, and as we go along, we're going to be exploring these features up here so that as you learn to 3D model on your own journey, you become more familiar with all of the features that you can use as you learn. So, today we're going to be making a 3D model of a smiley face. This entails first making a component of a smiley face, which I've already done for you here. Now, once you have this component activated, of course, you're going to need to turn on the origin so we can see where we're orienting ourselves. And to create the basis of the smiley face, we're going to need to double click that or click with two fingers and say create sketch. So this menu will appear and we're going to go ahead and create a circle. And we're going to set this to 80 millimeters as a diameter. Now, right now, of course, we just have a sketch, which is why it's called a sketch. It's not actually a body yet because there's no three-dimensionality to it, which is what we're going to add right now. So we're going to need to say press pull, and we're going to bring this up about 30 millimeters. Now there we go. We have the basis for our smiley face. So now that we have the basis for our face, we're actually going to need to create the eyes, as you would do with any smiley face. So there's two ways we can create the eyes. The first is to hover over this face first, and then with two fingers click down. A menu will appear and you're going to need to say create sketch. Once you're in this mode, you're going to create two circles. For example, we'll call it 20 millimeters. And we can move it around, that's a cool thing. And we can also create a second circle. So we can go ahead, create circle again. We can create another one and say, well, maybe if we want to have it kind of wacky, we can make it 15. Now we have our eyes. What we can do now to actually make the eyes, we can say double click on this and we can say press pull right here. One way we can create the holes for the eyes is by pressing pulling and going -10, for example, and that'll create a little divot. Or if we want to go all the way through, we can go -50. And essentially what it'll do, it'll create a hole that goes straight through. So if I were to say -50, okay, finish sketch, then you would see that we have a hole right there. But we don't exactly want to do that. What we want to do, we want to say select this. We want to say select this, press pull, and what we're going to do now is, now that we have both selected, we're going to go distance to object. If you use your orbit tool right here, you can see the bottom of the face, and we're going to say here. So right now it's going to create a hole directly through the object, and you can see here the operation is cut. So if I go in and look at it from the top, it now looks like we have two eyes. But say we didn't want to do that. Say we wanted to use the features that Fusion 360 has to offer. So we're going to go back in time using this timeline feature. So we can go here and stop right there. And you can see our eyes are gone. That's one of the useful things of Fusion 360. You can always go back in time using this history bar here at the bottom. So I'm going to ask from orbit mode and we're going to say create. You can see there's a lot we can create here, but we're going to create a hole, right? So you can select this face and you can also select the type of hole. Right now I have this selected right here, and you can select distance to again, go here and ask and distance to this face. So that'll create a hole right there. And to customize the dimensions of this hole, essentially all you need to do is modify it through here. So we're going to set one hole to 15, and we're going to set the height as 2, right? So we can click off that and we can move this hole wherever we wish. So we'll go there, we'll say okay. Okay, now we have the first eye. To create the second eye, we're simply going to create another hole right here. We're going to select this face. You can see it made the hole right there. We're going to set the height to be 50 for the sake of simplicity. It's going to go all the way through, and the diameter to be 20. Okay, so now that we've created the eyes, we need to create the mouth. So one way we can do this is by clicking on this face with 2 fingers, saying create sketch, and it'll bring us here. I actually want to view this from the other direction, so we want to view it from top down. I'm going to go create rectangle, and I'll go create center rectangle. It's the simplest for our purposes. So we're going to go here, create a rectangle like this. Now it looks a bit creepy, might admit, but it works. So I'm going to go here, click there, return, and say finish sketch. Select this, press pull, and we can actually just go -40 for simplicity. So it's going to create a mouth of the rectangle, and now we can see we have some sort of face, right? We can actually modify this face, and a way to make it a little more stylish, realistic, is to round off this edge, of course. So we can actually go ahead and do that. Fusion 360 provides a feature for that, and that's fillet. So if we go fillet, set the radius to 5, we see that now we have a curved edge. We can also do this for the bottom edge too. So we can go fillet and say 10. You can see now it's kind of like a mini gadget, right? It doesn't have a purpose, but it still looks pretty cool. We can also do this for the eyes if we wanted to. We can fillet those edges if we wanted to, and we could also modify these, right? But for now, we're just going to keep it at that. One quick thing before we leave that's notable: once you have a 3D model, if you've made this on your own time, it's really cool to go ahead in the render mode and render it. You can see how awesome that looks right now. It looks like the Scrub Daddy sponge. So 3D modeling, as you can see, can be used to model a lot of things in real life. And in fact, if we wanted to go ahead and see how it would look with any material, we could simply say smiley face, double click it, and say appearance. Now, this is a very useful feature for modeling what things will look like, right? So we can go metal, right? And we can say, what would this look like if it were bronze? So we can click bronze and go polished bronze, select there, and you can see now we have a gold smiley face, right? And you can go ahead and play around with this on your own time. I think it's very cool to do. Alright, so to conclude today's video, we learned how to make a 3D model using basic shapes. We started with a circle, lifted it up, created 2 circles within that, and created a rectangle. You can see it's not that difficult to actually make 3D models, and these rounded edges that you see are not that difficult to execute either, given that Fusion 360 has so many usable features. Finally, we concluded the video by going in render mode and seeing how this would look like with different materials applied. So I hope you learned to create your own 3D models today. I hope you followed along, because I think this is pretty cool. If you wanted to print this, you could actually. If you found this video informative at all, or at the very least entertaining, please, I would be so grateful if you would hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so I know you're enjoying the content, and recommend this video to a friend. We're trying to reach as many people as possible, so all it takes is just a couple seconds of your time. Thanks for watching, and see you next video.